Hello, everybody. Today in the ePadosi studio, we are welcoming Maya Vishwakarma. She is India's Padwoman, founder and president of Sukarma Foundation, and even the Sarpanch of her own village. So I know your work blends together public health, education, and leadership, and these are very strong skills for someone to have, especially when you're doing a lot of social activism and public leadership. So can you go a little bit more into your background, your education and early career?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you so much for bringing me here, and thank you all ePadosi audience and other like whoever is listening. So it's really good to be here, and so I would like to go from the beginning because that's how you can connect. So back in like 43 years ago, I born and brought up in the small village called Mehragaon. It's in Madhya Pradesh. Narsinghpur district. It's a very, very like remote. We didn't had basic amenities like forget about. I mean, now we are in Bay Area, we can relate, but those days we didn't had electricity or kind of running waters or good school and so on. And back in those days, my village, we didn't had education kind of motivation for the girls especially. Because when they born in the family, their family thought, okay, she will grow like 12 or 13 years and then later she will get married. And that's how her other life starts. So that's how I grew up in the family, and my father is a blacksmith. So I have seen all the hardships, and he's doing work at home, and my mother is housewife, but we also work in the field and farms and all that. So that childhood taught me a lot of courage and motivation that I can escape from the village and to go to another village because we had only 8th grade school, and then if you want to study more you have to move to another village, and if you want to more school then you have to go to another village, and then town, and then cities. So throughout my career, I moved to so many places. Like Jabalpur is the biggest city in our area. So I lived there my undergrad, and then after Jabalpur, I luckily got my research was in nuclear medicine in master program. So I got into All India Institute of Medical Science, New Delhi, and that gave me a big kind of hope that anybody can do anything, right? Yeah. And then there I learned so many things like other than my village, there are things, there are institute, there are so many other stuff that we can do. So that's how I learned, and throughout my journey, I applied in PhD programs here in US. So I came here. First, I came as a researcher. I presented my research paper in New York, Pittsburgh area. And that's how I get to know like this country is very, very good for the research and the study. So I want to come here. So I went back and then again came with on full scholarship as a PhD student in South Dakota chemical engineering. And I was the first girl from my village and my entire area that came here as a PhD student. Wow. It was a very big thing because people, they celebrated, my village celebrated my achievement. Yeah. So I thought, it's good to come here and then, learn something new.
That's amazing how you were able to start from, working in the farms and then being able to come here as the first girl from your village. So that's amazing. As I mentioned earlier, you are known as Padwoman. So, how did your journey really start into menstrual health advocacy? What was that defining moment that made you think, yes, I need to break these taboos and I need to make this my life's mission?
Yeah, so basically the place where I grew up, as I said, like girls, they used to get married earlier. They didn't had enough educations and the family was very conservative. Actually, still they are. So when I was growing in my village and when I had periods all those days, I got to know all those clothes and separate area isolations and you cannot do this and that. And because of that, I also had a hardship or some kind of problems when I was, in the city area. And when I saw like city areas, they have a very different concept during the menstrual periods, and girls are much more aware. And I also had some health issues when I was in Delhi, AIMS. Kind of like that triggered me a girl like me, I didn't know how to use pad at the age of 26-year-old, because we always used to save the money that, why we should use a pad. We have a clothes, you can just use those clothes, and those clothes we were using like over and over and over. Imagine, like, in your 10 years of your early age, you are using those dirty clothes and all. It got so many infections, right? Yeah. So when I came here in US, and I saw very different mindset, the family outlook, and the girl confidence, and the society is prepared for the sanitary pads, right? I mean, overall, the menstrual hygiene, right from the schools to the dinner table to everywhere, right? So because of my own issue, when I went back to my village, like I used to visit like every year to my village, and my village was not, we didn't had a big change. Still, when I traveled from here to my village, I was totally disconnected. No cell phone network, no electricity, just a very very less. And then the main issue was struggling that when I had a period, I used to find the pads and I couldn't find the pad in my area. Yeah. And then I asked like girls, like, I mean, why they are not using pads, and they told me their own story. Like, we don't have enough money, and even though we have money, we don't have nearby shops where we can buy. And then also, like, they don't want to see the boys or the male who's selling the pads and getting them to home. It was very hard things. Yeah. They used to cover in the black polythenes and all. So that kind of things I saw, and then I realized, like, we need to change this mindset. Mm-hmm. Overall, like in terms of education, awareness, accessibility, affordability. Yes. So then I thought, like, if I can do something, that will be really helpful, because a girl like me, I had a medical background, medical research, and also I came from US, and I also know the local language. We have a Bundelkhandi dialect that I still speak that. Yeah. And then when I say anything, they really listen and admire my advice. So then I came back few times, like by the time I moved from South Dakota to San Francisco, and here I saw like one TED talk of a guy, Arunachalam Muruganathan. He was doing the same thing, which I had that idea in my mind. Yeah. And I got so motivated, like, how can I find this guy, this kind of work I want to do in my village? So I contacted him and tried to meet him and all that, and he guided like, yeah, you can also start in your area. Then I said, okay, slowly I will move maybe. So that time I used to work in UCSF. I was a senior research associate. And my work also, it was in cancer, vaccinations and all that. So I realized, like, I don't know how much impact I can make in UCSF, because there are thousands of people who are doing the same work. But I can certainly make some difference in my village if I start doing now. Because living in Bay Area, we always think, okay, first we finish our education, then we make our career, then we earn some sufficient money, then we raise our kids, then we buy a home. Yeah. And then, that circle never ending, right? But then I realized, like, I need to do something now. I cannot wait for my retirements or something. Then it was a call. So I went to India and I said, I really want to do. I told my husband, I want to start this. And he said, okay, you can do that. So then slowly I learned how to set up the sanitary pads, machines, and then how to find the materials, how to train those women to make sanitary pads, and also removing the taboos. Yeah. So in 2016, we started Sukarma Foundation, and our first project was sanitary pads. We set up our own brand called No Tension, and that No Tension, because it's a very universal name. Like when you have a period, you don't have any tension, which means no tension, right? So that is very, the name is very familiar, and everybody can pronounce. Even there, those women, they never went to school, or they were just a laborer in the community. Yeah. So we hired them, and they were like our leaders in the community. So that's how the journey started.
Amazing. Yeah. I think being raised here in California all my life, this was a topic that was brought up a lot. We were taught this in elementary school. So knowing that there's people out there who don't actually know that, who don't have those, materials for themselves, it's great that you're helping them out. And as you mentioned, Sukarma Foundation, can you tell us more about, Sukarma Foundation's mission? What goals are you, trying to, achieve, and what you're really fighting?
Yeah, so my first project, as I said, we started with sanitary pads, and I started giving more time, more and more. Not even the production, but more on the education, advocacy, and breaking the taboos in my area. Because in MP, we are like a very majority in the tribal communities. So we have a 21 district in our state, which are tribal, and the tribal people, they had these issues kind of, they have a taboos in their families, and also I wanted to see how other tribal district is different from my tribal district, right? Narsinghpur is also kind of a tribal area. So I made a big campaign before the Padman movie came. So that campaign we covered 15 kind of a district out of 21, 22. Because that time the school was, vacation, going on vacation, summer vacation and all. So we kind of paused. But then later we realized the pad is also the issue, and the advocacy and awareness and all that. But there are another issues. When we heard all those girls, they had issues of their irregular periods. If they have some kind of infection, they don't have a gynae help. Yeah. They don't have any other help. So then we thought, like, from my village, how can I help in a primary care? Then we set up the telemedicine clinic. So earlier, as I said, we didn't have internet or cellular network or anything. Yeah. But then this geo revolution started, I think, in 2017, 18, that time around. And I realized, because I saw one telemedicine startup in Taikon here only. And I contacted them, like, can you set up this in our village? They said, we don't work in that area. I said, you have to work. The community really needs help. Mm-hmm. And those guys, they were really nice. They set up first telemedicine clinic in our village and also the entire state. And that is still going on. So with that telemedicine clinic, we were able to provide the women health issues, and the children's and the elder people's. And then, because it was started in 2019 and 20 onward, there was a COVID. Yes. So luckily I was there. And by the time I left my job, by the way, after starting the foundation. So I started more living in my village and helping all those people in those projects. Then the COVID started. I was thoroughly there. And because my background is also in vaccines and this kind of things. So I was also making awareness in those days. And then second wave was very deadly. We converted our hospital into isolation center. So, and we got help from all over area, Bay Area, Canada, and so on. And then during that time, we also realized that a lot of kids, they didn't had basic computers or homework, because the school was shut down during the COVID. It was 2 years. Kids were not going to school because they didn't had any device, cell phone. They were from poorer community, and we didn't know how long this COVID will go. So then we started computer learning centers. A lot of women are coming and asking, Didi, humko job de do. We want to work. We are away from like the shops, nobody keeping us as a maid or a house help or domestic help. Then we started a stitching center to make, individual women as an entrepreneur, like a small business women. So this kind of, all these projects increased every years actually. So now we are main in sanitary pads, education, skill developments, and also health. Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. You're clearly a powerful advocate for self-sustaining, villages, and you have a lot of work within that. Can you tell us about your documentary film and your book, Swaraj Mumkin Hai?
Yeah, so the documentary and book I did before the Sukarma Foundation, because I started kind of liking the village models and then the Gandhi Gram Swaraj and all that. So I thought I should do something for the villagers because we live in Bay Area. Here we don't have to go to any public representative like a mayor or anyone. But in India, it's totally opposite. Like people are rushing all the time towards politicians, officers, bureaucrats, and they never get the solutions. So that was the issue, that why can't we make a self-sustainable communities and the village. So there was a village in our district. We thought like this is a good example. So I made a documentary to showcase to other villages like why can't we make this kind of village when they had a good school, water, enough waters and corruption-free panchayats and green sustainable village and all that. So it was a very kind of a model of a Gandhi Gram Swaraj. So that's what I like. And I thought like the movie it may not go to everybody because that time it was like almost 11 years. So that time the internet was not that much, and also people they didn't had that much cell phones and all. So we thought like we should also write a book so that the book can go to every house and all the people can read and do their work in their own village. So that's how I got motivated.
That's great. Also that that you're going out to inspire more people to do
yes
work. That's awesome. Also, I feel like a lot of people, they will usually go from villages to these big cities, as you mentioned, going from here all the way up. But you also you were here in the Bay Area in San Francisco, and then making that big decision to move back to India, becoming that Sarpanch, working on the Sukarma Foundation. So what was really that driving factor where you completely knew that, yes, I have to go back and do this?
Yeah, so the reason is, as I said, like, coming from the village, we started from zero, right?
Yeah.
We didn't lost anything. Actually, we gained over the years coming to Bay Area and then doing the work. So, I just give a chance that what if I may not work like in all those years, but if I can follow my interest, which is this kind of sustainable village and Sukarma Foundation, that will help a lot of people. So in my back of my mind, I thought like, okay, let's give it one try. So I started, and I liking more because those are my own communities, those are my own people. And people symbolize me as an ideal kind of a Kalpana Chawla of my village, right? So Kalpana Chawla could not do and help each household, right? She can be a role model where all the girls, they can follow her dreams and become one of the Kalpana Chawla. But in my village, we didn't had even the enough school or electricity or anything. How the girls will become the Maya Vishwakarma, right? So then I thought like I need to be one of them. I need to be in the community. I need to understand their problem. And I also grow with these problems, right? So how can I solve those issues? Because here, everybody knows their task. Like the trash vehicle is coming every week. They take a trash. We follow the instructions, and everything is in autonomous, auto mode, right? But in India, every little steps you have to struggle. You have to struggle. So that was a big thing. So my motivation was like, how can you empower those girls and children in terms of education, and then later on it was in terms of health, because nowadays a lot of things are changing in terms of pollutions, the food contaminations, the environment, and they're also, the habit, right? So people are getting more and more sick. The lifestyle diseases are increasing, the cervical cancer is increasing, and infections and hysterectomy operations are increasing. So I thought, maybe we can work on a small steps.
So I really like how you said that, to really understand that problem, you had to be there in that village. You really had to understand where all these women were coming from. So that's amazing. And I know you've impacted thousands of women now in all these tribal districts. So what is next for the Padwoman of India and Sukarma Foundation? What is your next goal?
Yeah, so we never decided like we will do this and that and that. So we follow the interest of the people, the problem of the people. So when people come to us and said we have these issues, then we start working on that. We don't impose our own. So right now we still have sanitary pads campaigns going on in the villages, tribal areas, and also the health campaigns which we are assessing all the girls over like 8 years old and doing all their checkups and all. And with those we thought like, okay, let's make a good sustainable campus. So we just bought a small land in the tribal area. It's very beautiful in the hills. And we want to make the sustainable Seva Gram, kind of Sukarma Seva Gram, with the one hospital, one residential school, one women's health center. So that's our next project.
That's awesome.
But that requires a lot of efforts and funds, because it's a huge campus actually. If we can develop that, that will help like thousands of villages around the area where they can get good treatment and good schools and all that. So all the tribal community will get benefited.
Amazing. And so for all our viewers and listeners, where can they go? Any websites or links where they can connect to you?
Yeah, so we are everywhere. Actually, you find us on Google. We have a website. We are on social media. And if you like and if you really get inspired, you should come to India and work with us. You can see the problems actually, and you can connect.
Yeah.
Because donation is not only thing which may help, but people also experience the problem, understand and connect with the community. So I welcome all of you if you want to visit India in your summer time, and if you would like to come to visit our village and nearby communities, we will happy to help.
So you've already done a lot of work as Padwoman and within Sukarma Foundation. So what really inspired you to become the Sarpanch of your village?
Actually, so as I said earlier, I worked on the village, like Ideal Village, and I wrote a book and made a documentary. So that village was a kind of a very ideal village in my opinion, because that was a corruption-free, and they have a good school and sanitations and everything. And the more important, they don't have untouchability in the village, because we still have untouchability, the untouchable communities in the villages. So when I was working during the COVID and I was living more in the village. So then I thought like how I can change this village, because we were working with the individual community but not with the village. And then if you can do something good in the village, that will help a lot of people. So with that thought, our village was always like, very strong in the politics. When the election used to come, we fight in within our own families actually. And that makes very a nasty relationship among the families and within the community. So we thought like we should set one example which the election could be unopposed, means there's no election. And how can we, because I was kind of a most heard voice in the village after doing that so many during this COVID we saved a lot of lives there. So people were trusting me like Didi jo bhi kahengi hum manenge. So then I put this idea, because after COVID there was election coming in our panchayat, and I proposed the idea like if we can promote all the women into our council, like in a panchayat, the government will give us a 15 lakh rupees grant, and which we can use in our village. So our people will very inspired, and they said like, this time we will not have any election and we will all elect panchayat, but you have to become a sarpanch. Then I said, okay, I don't mind becoming sarpanch because I'm already living here. And my idea is to make a model school in the village where all the kids can get at least higher secondary school education, including all the girls. Because right now we didn't had a good school, and because of the school, a lot of kids are dropping. The poor people are not going to, the kids are not going to regular school. And that was a big backdrop, because the first development step is the education, right? If you can educate the community and the families, they will do lot of work for the families, right? When you uplift one person in the family in terms of education, that the whole community will come together. So my idea to build a model school where, just like we see here, we have a free community education and kids are going because we are paying the tax for that and we are deserving that education, right? But in India it's totally opposite. The government school are shutting down. They have a very bad building infra, no teacher in the school because they are busy in something else. So I want to create the model. So then I convinced the villagers, and the more the women should come forward in the leadership. So I chose all the women from different community and set up this ideal that one village used to fight every day, like every 5 years, and and they were fighting in within, but that village also can set up the example that they can create this unopposed panchayat, which was a big message to the entire state, and our village was very proud. And my idea is to use those funds effectively to develop the basic amenities in the village. So that's how I become a Sarpanch. And because in India, the politics system is kind of bad people will be in politics, good people may not be in politics, or some dynasty people will be in politics. So good people should come in politics, especially educated people should come in politics. And the panchayat is the first kindergarten of politics. If you can learn and also do something good in the panchayat, the whole area or whole district or whole state will follow the model. So I wanted to create the kind of a model village in terms of health, education, empowerment, and skill center. So we have done all these except one, education, because there are some issues in the school. So that's another steps. But moreover, we have created digital library in our village where kids can learn internet, computers, and all that. It was not there earlier. And we also set up the community RO plant, which can give clean water to every household. Because in India, it's a big thing if you are getting a clean water. And also the model panchayat and kind of a gym system for the kids and Anganwadi and all that. So that is kind of a model where people can follow. So that's how I wanted to make a model village, ideal village, and follow up the documentary and all that. So so it's like 3.5 years. So 1.5 year more to go.
Nice. Yeah, you're definitely doing a lot of great work, and it's great how everyone in that community sees you as your role model. And you're doing amazing work.
Thank you so much. Yeah.